Imagine a mild spring night in 1948. Neon tubing glows above Hollywood Boulevard, and uniformed ushers guide excited patrons beneath colossal studio posters. Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, Warner Brothers, Paramount, 20th Century Fox, and RKO control almost every frame, every theater seat, and every press line. Their contract stars appear flawless, yet the pressure is relentless. Publicity chiefs barter tidbits with columnists Hedda Hopper and Luella Parsons, while private doctors sign non-disclosure agreements thicker than any screenplay. Diet pills chase ham sandwiches, sedatives chase applause. Cameras are loaded with silver emulsion, but the hearts that stand before them carry heavier chemicals of fear and hope. This narration steps behind the glittering marquee to meet 20 unforgettable performers whose brilliance lit screens between the 1920s and the 1960s, and whose inner battles with depression, addiction, or severe mood swings remind us that fame is neither shield nor cure. For every triumphatory close-up, there was a sleepless dawn. For every Oscar banquet, a silent corridor. Their stories deserve careful listening, respectful remembrance, and renewed compassion. Keep the theater of your mind open. Settle into a comfortable seat and allow these real human dramas to unfold, scene by intimate scene. Judy Garland was born Frances Gumm in Grand Rapids, Minnesota in 1922, and her mother soon placed her on traveling vaudeville circuits. Louis B. Mayer signed the singer to Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer at 13, pairing her with Mickey Rooney in cheery musicals. Studio dietitians judged her cheeks too round, prescribing Benzedrine to curb hunger and Seconal to force sleep between shooting schedules. During The Wizard of Oz in 1939, she was still a minor, yet management demanded an adult workload. Garland's voice masked mounting anxiety, and by her 20s, dependence on stimulants and barbiturates ruled every call sheet. Triumphant concerts proved her resilience, but marriages collapsed, and on a London morning in 1969, she died at 47, leaving Somewhere Over the Rainbow poignant. Marlon Brando, born in Omaha, Nebraska, in 1924, revolutionized screen acting with his raw method presence. After electrifying Broadway as Stanley Kowalski, he filmed A Streetcar Named Desire for Warner Brothers in 1951 and won an Oscar 3 years later in On the Waterfront. Yet, acclaim felt hollow. He described Hollywood as a meat market, resenting interviews, press junkets, and studio demands. He retreated to his Mulholland Drive compound, reading philosophy and raising private animals. Family tragedy deepened his gloom. In 1990, son Christian was convicted of manslaughter. 5 years later, daughter Cheyenne died by suicide. Although Brando later revived his career with The Godfather for Paramount, depression persisted. He died in 2004, aged 80, still uneasy with the price attached to fame. Marilyn Monroe entered the world as Norma Jean Mortensen in Los Angeles in 1926. A contract with 20th Century Fox transformed the factory worker into cinema's shimmering blonde ideal in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, The 7-Year Itch, and Some Like It Hot. Behind the smile, she fought chronic endometriosis, insomnia, and performance anxiety that caused tardy call times and expensive retakes. Psychiatrists at the Payne Whitney Clinic offered more barbiturates than counsel. Monroe sought respect as a serious actress, forming her own company and studying with Lee Strasberg. But columns fixated on romances with Joe DiMaggio and President Kennedy. In August 1962, she was found dead in Brentwood at 36. Whether accidental or intentional, the loss revealed how isolation can cling, even then, to stardom. Clara Bow, Brooklyn-born in 1905, rocketed to fame during the silent era when Paramount marketed her as the It Girl after the spirited 1927 comedy It. Audiences adored her unfiltered energy, a vibrant contrast to the mannered stars of the day. Yet childhood trauma trailed behind. Her mother experienced psychotic episodes, and her father's work was erratic, leaving the actress to shoulder family burdens. When microphones arrived, Bow's thick New York vowels became fodder for critics who mocked her voice. Anxious and exhausted, she suffered a collapse in 1931 and withdrew to a Nevada ranch with Rex Bell. By 26, she had retired from the industry, later diagnosed with schizophrenia, living quietly until a heart attack claimed her in 1965. Frances Farmer, Seattle-born in 1913, first drew national notice by winning a writing contest that sent her to the Soviet Union, alarming conservative columnists. Signed by Paramount, she projected fierce intelligence in Come and Get It and Howard Hawks's film Rhythm on the Range. She rebelled against rehearsed publicity, refused studio gowns, and openly criticized a system she viewed as paternalistic. After a series of traffic violations and courtroom clashes in 1943, a judge ordered psychiatric evaluation. Diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, Farmer endured electroconvulsive shocks, insulin comas, and long periods in state hospitals. Released in 1950, she found work hosting a local television program and appearing in summer stock theater. Her memoir suggested mistreatment, fueling later advocacy. She died in 1970 at 56. Vivien Leigh, born in Darjeeling during the British Raj in 1913, mesmerized audiences as Scarlett O'Hara in Gone with the Wind for Selznick International and as Blanche Dubois in A Streetcar Named Desire. Away from the camera, she wrestled with bipolar disorder that swung her between euphoria and paralyzing fatigue. During manic phases, she memorized pages and sparkled at London society dinners. During depressive episodes, she locked herself in bedrooms, fearing she would never act again. Recurrent tuberculosis further weakened her constitution, yet she refused to relinquish the stage, touring Australia with her husband, Laurence Olivier. Their marriage became strained by her unpredictable moods and ended in 1960. Leigh died in 1967 at 53. Her career hailed as the union of courage and fragile grace. Spike Milligan entered the world in British India in 1918 as the son of an Irish sergeant. After serving as a Royal Artillery gunner through the North African and Italian campaigns, he suffered shell shock, now called post-traumatic stress disorder. Transforming anguish into comedy, he created The Goon Show for the BBC in 1951, partnering with Peter Sellers and Harry Secombe. The program's wordplay inspired future groups like Monty Python, but writing and performing each episode aggravated his bipolar disorder. Hospital stays alternated with ovations. Milligan spoke openly about mental illness in autobiographical volumes, beginning with Adolf Hitler, My Part in His Downfall, shattering mid-century taboos. He died in 2002, 83, his epitaph reading in Gaelic, I Told You I Was Ill. Gene Tierney, born in Brooklyn Heights in 1920, brought sophisticated poise to 20th-century Fox thrillers, most famously the noir masterpiece Laura in 1944. During a wartime Bond tour, she contracted rubella, and her first daughter, Daria, was born with severe disabilities. Guilt and regret consumed Tierney, leading to deep depression and episodes of psychosis. She sought help at the Menninger Clinic in Kansas, receiving electroconvulsive treatments that impaired short-term memory yet offered limited relief. Tabloids sensationalized her absence, but director Otto Preminger welcomed her back for Advise and Consent in 1962. Tierney later penned an autobiography, Self-Portrait, candidly describing her illness and advocating kindness toward sufferers. She died in 1991 at 70, remembered for luminous beauty tempered by profound resilience. Errol Flynn, the Tasmanian-born son of a biology professor, sailed into Warner Brothers stardom with Captain Blood in 1935 and confirmed legend status in The Adventures of Robin Hood 3 years later. Magazine covers celebrated his daring smile, yet privately he battled alcoholism, syphilis, and self-loathing behind the heroic Technicolor facade. Continuous litigation, including a notorious statutory trial in 1943, drained finances and heightened stress, though he was acquitted. Directors complained of tardiness and shaking hands, signs of withdrawal. He sought refuge on a yacht, Zaka, exploring Caribbean coves to escape reporters. By his 40s, heart disease and cirrhosis advanced. Flynn collapsed in Vancouver in 1959, aged 50, leaving an autobiography titled My Wicked, Wicked Ways that confessed both charm and ruin. Frank Sinatra, Hoboken-born in 1915, mastered phrasing so intimate, listeners felt he was confiding secrets through the radio. Popularity in the 1940s faded temporarily after Bobby Soxer hysteria waned, and a career slump plunged him into despair. Desperate, he begged Columbia executive Harry Cohn for the role of Maggio in From Here to Eternity, a performance that restored his stature and earned an Oscar, yet mood swings persisted. Friends described nights when he dispensed lavish gifts, followed by mornings when he spoke of ending it all. He often medicated anxiety with Jack Daniels and travel between Las Vegas showrooms and Palm Springs retreats. Though never clinically diagnosed, Sinatra acknowledged battling the blues. He died in 1998, his ballads reminding listeners that vulnerability resides beneath swagger. George Reeves, Iowa-born in 1914, enjoyed early promise with a small role in Gone with the Wind, but achieved household fame only after donning Superman's tights for the syndicated television series Adventures of Superman in the 1950s. Children admired his confident smile, yet the actor earned modest wages and found himself typecast. Attempts to secure serious film roles were rebuffed by producers who believed audiences could not forget the cape. Financial strain coincided with a turbulent engagement to Society hostess Leonore Lemon. Reeves slipped into depression and reportedly complained of headaches and insomnia. On a June night in 1959, he was discovered dead from a gunshot in his Benedict Canyon home. Police ruled suicide, though controversy endures. His plight revealed how success can imprison ambition. Gary Cooper, Montana-raised and lanky, personified understated heroism in classics such as Sergeant York and the allegorical western High Noon. A shy art student turned Paramount contract player, he worried privately that his limited range might bore audiences. Friends recalled him pacing before premieres, repeating lines under his breath, a ritual to calm rising anxiety. The plain-spoken characters he played mirrored his own search for authenticity amid studio hyperbole. Even triumph carried hidden costs he rarely discussed. Late in life, he learned prostate cancer had metastasized to bone, yet he kept the diagnosis secret to protect family privacy. Accepting a special Oscar in 1961, he appeared gaunt, provoking rumors. He died weeks later, 60, reminding Hollywood that courage sometimes manifests as quiet perseverance, not swaggering bravado. Montgomery Clift, born in Omaha in 1920, captivated audiences with tremulous sensitivity in A Place in the Sun, From Here to Eternity, and The Misfits. Unlike many contemporaries, he refused long-term contracts, valuing artistic freedom above studio security. A devastating car crash in 1956 shattered his face and snapped vertebrae, leaving chronic pain and disfiguring scars. Plastic surgeons reconstructed his jaw, but mirrors reminded him daily of lost beauty, feeding depression and regret. He soothed agony with morphine and bourbon, arriving on sets exhausted, yet still delivering truthful performances. Director Elia Kazan called him the bravest actor he ever knew. On a humid July night in 1966, Clift died alone of a heart attack at 45, a talent consumed by unrelenting inner storms. Veronica Lake, born Constance Ockelman in Brooklyn in 1922, became wartime fantasy with her peekaboo hairstyle in noirs This Gun for Hire, The Glass Key, and The Blue Dahlia. Paramount's publicity department emphasized glamour, but executives also criticized her temper and punctuality. Lake struggled with alcoholism, mourning a stillborn child and juggling 2 divorces. Alcohol affected memory, and slurred lines led to costly reshoots, dimming studio patience. By the early 1950s, roles vanished, and she drifted east, eventually bartending anonymously at the Martha Washington Hotel in Manhattan. Diagnosed later with schizophrenia, she attempted a small comeback in the 60s, writing a candid memoir titled Veronica. Hepatitis and renal failure claimed her in 1973 at 50, yet her sultry screen image remains iconic for devoted cinephiles. Peter Sellers, Southampton-born in 1925, was raised in touring variety halls and learned to mimic voices before he could read. Radio stardom arrived with The Goon Show, and international cinema acclaim followed as Inspector Clouseau and Dr. Strangelove's multiple personas. The ease with which he became other people masked an inability to locate his own identity, contributing to depression and explosive mood swings. He indulged in fad diets, spiritual gurus, and prescription drugs, searching for stability. 3 marriages crumbled under jealous rages. Heart attacks struck at 38 and 48, yet he insisted on performing, fearing obscurity more than death. In 1980, he succumbed to another attack in London at 54, leaving a film archive that still provokes laughter and thoughtful unease around audiences. Lupe Vélez, born Maria Guadalupe Villalobos in San Luis Potosí in 1908, danced and sang her way into Hollywood after success in Mexican revues. United Artists paired her with Douglas Fairbanks in The Gaucho, and RKO later crafted the Mexican Spitfire comedy series around her fiery charisma. While her screen persona exuded confidence, Vélez faced racism, volatile romances, and unpredictable temper headlines. She yearned for motherhood, but when she became pregnant in 1944, outside marriage, moralistic studio executives threatened suspension. Believing scandal would ruin her livelihood, she arranged an ornate bedroom farewell scattered with orchids and lit candles. Ben took barbiturates. She was found the next day, 36, a tragedy sensationalized by pulp magazines. Her death underscored how prejudice and morals deepened already heavy despair.